Hi, it's Susan at Seaside Stitches and I've got a lot to catch you up with, so let's get started. As you can see, I am wearing a white blouse. This is a white blouse that I made for, just because I'd wanted to make a white blouse, but I got on with it once I found out about the Sew April Blouse challenge that, I know I'd get this mixed up. Kristen at the Dahlia Society and the lady from Cloth Edit, they put together this challenge, and you had to finish a blouse for the end of April. And I videoed last time on the 29th, and by the 30th was the day after, I did manage to get it finished. I'm really pleased with it now it's finished. I had some difficulties with it, and this, I will put a proper picture on. That is the pattern for it. It's the Phoebe flounce. It's the Pattern Union Phoebe flounce, basically, but that has no sleeves in it. Phoebe flounce blouse, and I've added some leg of mutton or bishop sleeves, which I wanted to do when I wanted to look for a flouncy thing. And so this has become my, it was Sew the Look, because I was inspired by something Sarah Pascoe was wearing on QI months and months ago. But also this is for hashtag Sew April Blouse. And I absolutely love it, and it has been a rush today to finish it, and it's about 7:30 at night. Okay. And these sleeves were from this one, the B version, but that version has a pleat at the top, which I didn't do. Well, I didn't have time really. I only had that day to put the loops on, the buttons, sort that out, put the band on. I think finish the tie. I hadn't quite sewn it on. I've got a few videos or clips or photographs that I will put on, just so you get an idea of how I made it. It went together. There wasn't anything wrong with the instructions. The instructions were actually, I read them a few times before I actually started to do it, before I even cut it out even, and I felt like I was being kept alongside by a friend explaining what to do. But when I actually came to do the steps, and there were diagrams with the steps, I found there was a lot of things I couldn't quite get my head round. Now, I don't know if that is in the way they conveyed the instructions or the way I interpreted it. And also, I couldn't grasp how you could do the things they were saying to do. And it wasn't until I actually got to them and tried them and then worked it out, or even thought about it overnight in my sleepless nights and fathomed how I should do it, that I managed to sort it out. Now this is a flounce. A wonderful flounce. The Pattern Union Phoebe flounce blouse. I just wanted to capture it before I sew it together with the sides. Okay, I'm finding parts of this an absolute triumph. It's the Phoebe flounce top, and the flounces I'm so pleased with the rolled hem. There are some, I haven't even started actually fitting it to myself, but there are some strange things about it that I'm not certain about. I've got the button placket on, and the neck is obviously, the shoulders are obviously really not the right angle for me, and I don't know if I'd already, and the back is really baggy it's a strange one because you can have it with the flounce or without, with elasticated waist or without. So if you're just having it without, you've obviously got all the bagginess of what would be brought into an elasticated waist. I'm not massively certain what I'm doing now. I've made some errors and somehow had got this bit too short. Well, it just ended. So I've manoeuvred it. I've taken out the seam and I've manoeuvred it so that it's got an end, if you know what I mean. I've pleated it in. And, well, I thought I'd got my measurements right and the way I'd cut it right. And you didn't have an option. It was cut on the fold, so the centre of the actual flounce, because you cut it, it's kind of like almost a circle, but you start with it on the fold, so that has to be your centre piece, your centre of it. And yet when I put it down the back, it really is long. It goes right down to the bottom, where at the front it didn't. Anyway, see, as you can see at the back, it's really lovely. I like the butterfly kind of flounce on it. And although it's not with sleeves, I'm trying it with some big gathered sleeves, because it's sleeves are me at the moment. But as you see, the flounces go right down to the bottom. Well, to the bottom. They would be in the seam allowance. So I'm confused there, but then, and that would be, I've just tacked on the side seams because I'm not really up to putting the sides on. But this is a size 12. I made it to the measurements that were offered, and this one isn't done yet. But as you can see, it's going to be really wide. Well, obviously I'm going to alter it, but even you can see how it would need to be if you're going to have it elasticated, wouldn't it, really? But as there's the other option, I'm really confused by it now. And also the arm, they're quite low. You can't sell it on here. The armholes come down quite low. So it's going to need quite a bit of jiggery pokery, as I call it. I kind of fell out with it about half an hour ago. I'm back on it now that I've managed to put the flounce tucked in. I didn't use I used the white satin bias binding for doing the rouleau loops. The fabric was, because it's quite bobbly and quite, I don't know, it doesn't slide, so it was difficult to get through to make a slim enough one. I can talk about that in some of the clips that I can attach, but that's where I've got to now. For me, I joke about this now on photograph. My first photograph was, this is my keeping COVID safe blouse, because no one can get next to me, and so that's my joke about it. I would like, and I still will, if I'm going to leave the sleeves in, then I'm going to take them out, and then I'm going to bring them further in, because to me they're a little bit far out on the shoulder, apart from all this, and I may put that pleat in, and I may not. I haven't worn it out or anything yet. I do like it. I like the fact that I did it. I love the fact that I actually did a rolled hem on all this, and I'm very pleased with it. There were a couple of things that, as I say, they kind of flummoxed me. So that'll come clearer as I go into more detail. It's fantastic, this flounce, isn't it? So I've managed to put bias binding on, the satin bias binding. The light is dreadful, I do apologise, it's 7:30 at night, and I've used the bias binding to make the rouleaus, the loops for the buttons. I've still got that fitted on there, that's fine. I've altered the shoulders, I've altered the back, I've put the neckband partly on, done the bit that I didn't understand what they meant, where you pop it round the back of the collar, round the back of the neck, and finish it off on the inside. But from the inside, and it's just then to be finished off, taken under and edge stitched on the back. But then you turn these inside out from here, sew them up, reverse them, and then you've got these ties. So that's coming on, and I do have some sleeves I want to put in, although the pattern doesn't have sleeves, and all that's required really is bias binding. There is meant to be a band on the bottom, but I'm now not sure about whether I'm going to put a peplum on. So I don't know yet. And if I finish it tomorrow, it doesn't need to be for the challenge. It can just be that I'm nearer to finishing the blouse that I really wanted to make. So watch this space. You may not have even seen any of that because it's quite low. So that's that. Well, that's this. When I did the frugal frock challenge, I think, which had to be in for the end of March, then I wasn't pleased with that pattern and how difficult it had become to do. I thought it would be more simple. So I decided I would make another one in this fabric, and I call this Is Not a Nightie. And I have a couple of videos of where I have made it and dressed it with a bag, I don't think with a belt, but where I just kind of model it and go, this is not a nightie. Because when I first started it, and it was massive, and I'd left it too long, and I'd done it as a 16 or an 18, it looked like a ghost, like I'd been let loose from somewhere. And it definitely had a nightie quality. But what I wanted to make it for was, I've got the Tilly and the Buttons Freya sweater that I made a top in, just a very straightforward top with a mock roll neck, and I really like the fabric. It's really soft, and it's just cotton jersey, not a lot of stretch, and I thought this would be absolutely ideal for just a put-on dress while I'm sewing, because the two that I use all the time are a kind of jadey coloured one, white with a pattern, and a kind of a wine coloured one with a spot that I've had I've had the wine coloured one with the spot for about 20 years, and it's got handkerchief points on the top, and it cost me £15 20 years ago. And the other one was from a charity shop and cost about a £5, but I wear it all the time because it's just so easy. You just pop it on and you don't know you're wearing it. So I wanted something like that. Now I didn't use the same pattern as I'd used for the frugal frock. I'd learnt. So I looked out, and I can show this properly on the thing. It's just like a pinafore dress. I think it's more known as a jumper dress, or a jumper in the US. But it's just a sleeveless kind of basic, it's not a shift dress, it's a slightly A-line, not really super fitted dress, but it has got front darts, no back darts. Yes, it has got back darts, waist darts, and you just turn the neck over. And this is the first time I have done a twin needle hem on a neck or on the bottom, and I did it again on the bottom. So It's all new learning for me. I'm very pleased with that. I did my Susan statement sleeve, which is the same sleeve that I put in for the frugal frock, with the cuff taken from the Harper cardigan. I've made another dress, just a hanging about at home dress, and I've teamed it up with one of my lovely cardies from a charity shop that cost me £5, and I'm really pleased with it. It's the first time that I've used a twin needle. Just turned over the hem and the seam allowance. I just turned over the seam allowance, or the hem allowance, and just sewed it with a twin needle. Had a couple of problems, but it wasn't about how to do it. It was my needle jammed, and anyway, that's not important. And I've made another set of wonderful big sleeves that I love, and I'd made them a little bit too long, so I've taken them apart and took a bit off and put them back on. So you see more of this another time, but at the moment this is all I'm showing because I've no makeup on. I've washed my hair and left it. Love this fabric. It's what I use. I got it from Abercan just in a mad fabric haul just for doing some t-shirt. I've got that thread. That's from where I had to rejoin it, and I want to sew it. I want to head it through with on a needle and then hide it within the seam allowance. And I just really love it. It's really simple to wear. It's really just cosy, and I suppose it's not too hot cosy, but it's just comfy. So, but because it's white, it does have that kind of, is that a 90? It's definitely not a 90. So I don't actually know if I would go shopping in it or out in it at all, but I really feel good in it. It's lovely. So that's that, and that is finished. I have this here to remind me to mention my purple dress that I did a sewing long for an hour and something, and I sat here hemming the skirt for several hours on different days, and I'm just reporting that I still have to hem the cuffs, but I do have a picture of me in it since I've done the hem, given it a bit of a swish, and I will insert that. So I love this colour. It just really suits me. I really suit it. I love it. And I've got something in mind to do, something possibly using a bit of this in a new challenge that I'll mention in a minute. Okay, I'm just testing. I don't know how much you can see. Don't know if you can see the length of it, but it's really lovely. I love the swing of it. It's got a really good swish. Still got the cuffs to do, and got my mask to mask. Face covering to match. Fiddling about this. It's not quite right. Yes. It's lovely. A lovely dress. It's French terry, and I'm really pleased with it. And now the neighbours are out looking at, what the hell's that woman doing? I'm also, well, I did start this, and I have had with this red fabric. I wasn't going to show you all the insides, given that I keep taking it apart and putting it back together. I've had quite a few fitting challenges yet again, but I did make it as I think 16, 14, because I just can't get a size in right. What I'm going to do, if I make it again, I will make it as a 12 in something stretchy, and it will either fit me or it won't fit me. I've had the arms, I've taken about 1.5 inches from the arms. At the top it's got kind of a raglan. Yeah, it's got a raglan sleeve. I've never done a raglan sleeve before. It's a raglan sleeve, but the sleeve is in 2 halves, and it's meant to be a little bit, not like this, but a little bit loose, but it's just not right somehow. And also the bodice wasn't a right nice fit. So there's a video of me showing how I've improved that, and I've got it even better since then. It's got some nice, just kind of gentle gathers under the bust. It's got gathers at the back. Okay then, so what I've done is I've just taken that seam in a little bit. I've undone this, taken that seam in and taken that seam in, and got a better fit there. And I've done the same on this side. I've not finished, I've just got a pin there just to check that it's right, and I'm much happier with that. And then I will take in the back seam, obviously, and see where we go from there. Progress is being made. At the back of the bodice, it's meant to be kind of fitted but gently loose and kind of flowy, bit flowy. And I didn't make it in the fabric that you should, really. I made it in this really quite nice stretch jersey, and my inspiration was Jenny at Jenny Stitches, and she had made it in a blue, pretty blue and white kind of cotton lawn or something like that. And she'd made the puff sleeve, and that makes more sense why you'd have this baggier sleeve. But the neckline is, I thought it would be really simple, and I understood it. And you've got your neckline to here, and then you've got it looks like a facing, but it's kind of a collar, but it's kind of looks like it's grown onto the dress, or it's hard to explain. But once I'd fitted that, and because I'd made so many alterations to the shoulders, I had to resize the facing, or the neckline, or whatever you'd call it. And I managed to do that, but when I put it on, it's awful. It's really high up. I don't like it at all. The slit at the front, there is a gap at the front that you overstitch. And Jenny and someone else, there's only one other review that I've seen, and that lady didn't like the dress at all. She was really quite confused about it, didn't understand why this went there and that. And this is quite a lot lower than it needs to be. And Jenny said that on her review, that she had to do quite a bit of slip stitching. Well, realising it was going to be quite low, I decided yesterday to take it apart, or the day before. I took it apart and I re-sewed that seam a little bit higher up, and then I've top stitched it again, and it sits in a much better place for me. I'm not so modest that I can't cope with a low neck, but it was just, it wasn't, no, just wasn't right. So I've now got to work out how to finish it. Because apart from the hem, and there's a little cuff band. It doesn't take it in much, but there is a cuff band to go on, or a sleeve band, and it's just the hem to do really. So I've got to work out a way of putting something on the neck, and I'm maybe inspired by this something or other to do with that. But I'm not in any rush, but that has been one of my other things that I've been doing. And then I've got completely distracted from actually making garments, because I mentioned quite a bit that Alan is an artist, and he's in a Zoom group with a number of other, it's kind of a tutorial. So some are artists, some are learning, some are just at the beginning, some are in the middle of crafting and art, doing art. And one of them is so excited now about getting so far on with her artwork that she'd put on Facebook that she was going to clear out some space to buy more art materials, and to do that she would be getting rid of some of her fabric, because she'd had some sewing lessons and was no longer really interested in sewing. And did anyone want any fabric? And I sort of said, well, I'd be very happy to have some fabric, please. And there was just a message that came on, do you want thick stuff or thin stuff? And I said I'd be very happy with anything, thank you very much. And then forgot all about it, and one day the post woman had knocked on the door, and I thought, I haven't ordered anything. And I wondered if Alan had. Anyway, I went to the door, and there was a parcel on the doorstep, and it was in an Amazon box, and we don't use Amazon. We are hashtag make Amazon pay. We are part of an action quite against Amazon because we don't agree with their work ethic or their business model or many things about Amazon. So if you're part of Amazon, if you're affiliate to Amazon, that is entirely up to you, but as long as you know the facts, you hashtag make Amazon pay. But it's entirely up to you. But anyway, this box, I thought, well, none of us has ordered this. And then I realised it was a box with fabric in. And it's very strange getting someone else's choices of fabrics, because there was some little ditzy lilac flowers, and that kind of fabric I may have bought at some point for something specific, but none of the other I would have really considered. But yeah, it's really got me thinking of what I could do. And for Christmas, my wonderful daughter-in-law and my equally wonderful son, wait a minute, 3 of these I already had, so I can't remember which ones I had, but they made me a sewing hamper, and I couldn't have it at Christmas because we couldn't go down, and it was too heavy to send, and we agreed that we would swap Christmas presents, and the boys have got plenty of things, so it wasn't that they would be short of anything if we didn't send ours. We agreed to swap them at a time when it was legal and appropriate, because they live 200 and odd miles away from us. At the point of Christmas kind of was cancelled a couple of days before, and we weren't allowed to, it was essential travel only, so it weren't like they were round the corner and we could have just nipped round and waved to them. And we can't go down there unless we stay over, because it's, anyway. So we arranged to do this after Christmas when it was safe and allowable, which was just around April when we met them at what a lovely country park, Cannock Chase, I think, in Staffordshire. Anyway, I got my box of fabric, and Alan got his art books and things like that he was having, and in this box there was fabric and there were several of these. So what I'm coming to is this fabric that came from this lovely person. I've been looking out different things that I may make with the fabric that she sent, and so some of that one was mine already, that one was mine already, and that one was mine already. So these, and another one called Fat Quarters, that's not, these are all Debbie Shaw, and I love watching Debbie Shaw. So they are those, and I'll slip in some, yeah, and then I've revisited these again now, and I just love them. I love the way and a lot of them are on video. She's on YouTube, so she demonstrates exactly how she does them. And she used to be a presenter on children's TV years and years ago, and she does a lot of presenting on the channels. I can't remember which they are, but anyway, I love her manner, and she's got a lot of energy. She runs her own half-yard club. Half-yard club. I'm not a member of that, but she now does some Saturday morning live videos for that, and for the public as well. So she's very inspiring. So I will put some photos on of where I've got the fabric from. Lynn, she's called, the person who gifted it to me. I've matched it to some of my notions, or some odd little bits, maybe a fat quarter here and there that I'd already got, to just coordinate it and see if I can come up with ideas from those kind of groupings. So it's been quite exciting. And so I've also washed and ironed a lot of my fat quarters, some of which came in that gift box. Some of them are here, and some of them were from Lynn, and some I already had. So I'm not a great buyer of quilting things, but I don't think any of them. Oh yeah, there's one little pack of fat quarters that I had bought at some point. And yeah, because I got into quilting a little bit when I was doing these. And what else was I going to tell you? Oh yes, the most important thing. So I was watching Michelle at Sewing Bunny, and she started by saying that there is a challenge. Oh, I'm not going to remember her name now. I'll put it in my description. But there is a challenge. Make a t-shirt. Something like sew a t-shirt for June. I don't know. I did this last time, didn't I, with the frugal frocks? I'll put a little thing underneath what it's called. So there is a challenge that I want to say she's called Joey, but I'm not sure she is. And yes, so she has organised a challenge, and there's some lovely prizes. And the reason I'm going to go in for it, if I get round to doing a t-shirt, is you need to make a t-shirt for June, and I think it is by the end of June. So I'll put the details on the thing anyway. So you can make a t-shirt or a t-shirt dress, and I've got a few ideas already. And I thought I would get out my Tilly and the Button stretch book, because I know there are quite a few patterns in here for t-shirts, and that's my Freya sweater and my Freya sweater. So there are quite a few, I think, of t-shirts and t-shirt dresses in here. I haven't opened it for a few weeks. So there's just lots of ideas going on in my mind, and I have got a bit of this left that I may match with something else. But the thing that it's brought up for me is, how do you, what's the word? Quantify. How do you describe, what is a t-shirt? And what do you get away with? What's a t-shirt and what's a top? What's a top and not a t-shirt? And it can't just be that, well, I'm assuming if it comes out as a t-shape, it's a t-shirt. But there are sew over it t-shirts, there are some that have got gathered sleeves, there are some that have got fancy backs in different pattern companies. You can have block patterns, you don't have to have it just as one fabric or two fabrics. So I'm thinking, it's got me thinking, which is a good thing really. I need to keep thinking. And what else? I don't know if there's anything else. Just a quick catch up on, because Alan is an artist and we're trying to set up an Etsy shop. I'm not going into that. I was supposed to start, I've been delayed on a lot of the projects that I was hoping to do, because I've been trying to learn how to do a website. And it's a long time since I did one before. When I've tried all the tutorials on WordPress, I'm getting a different screen from them. They get a dashboard, I don't get a dashboard. And it's just one of those technological problems that I often have. So I'm not getting stressed about it now. I'm just saying that's been an ongoing issue of trying to be technological instead of crafty and sewy and things. And oh, hello, have you woken up? And on Saturday we went to a craft fair at Horton Towers, which is in Lancashire. A 15th century building, but in the grounds it was, I think, Crafty Vintage had taken over, given had created an event which was a craft fair and fun weekend for children and adults, and it's the first craft fair I've ever been to, well, since I've been interested in sewing and things. So it was interesting. I liked it, and I liked to see the things that people were making, not just sewing making, but all sorts of different crafts. So I've enjoyed that. And then today we went out to look at, there was another market, a spring market in Ribchester, which is a little Roman village. And here we have the cat now. She's decided she will make an exit. So anyway, we've been out and about, and I did get some fat quarters for a project that I'm going to do that were on offer at Hobbycraft. So I'm going to finish there, and thank you ever so much for listening, for watching. I so appreciate how many subscribers I've got. Even if you don't subscribe, please give me a comment. Thank you ever so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. And because I've been doing other things, I've got behind with watching my usual YouTube vloggers. And yesterday I was able to watch Rachel and Nikki in the Stitch Sisters video, and I love them too. They're so enthusiastic, and they've been putting a course together, and putting a course together more for beginners. They did have an actual sewing school, really, and then they've been having to do virtual things and not be able to see each other because of our lockdown and our safety measures, etc. But it was really nice to see them and all the things they'd made, and they blow me away. And so does Michelle at Sewing Bunny, and I haven't been able to watch Andrea much at Beyond the Pink Door, but I have got a couple of fabrics from her. I'm coming. Yeah, so there's quite a few I've just not caught up with. So I really appreciate anyone who's actually caught up with me. So thank you very much. Okay, I'll see you soon. And I will put on some videos now, and I will have added a few pictures as we've gone along, but I'll put on some video clips and things. But thank you ever so much for watching. Bye for now. And bye from Suki. I just thought I would put on this dress. The dress that is, this is not a nightie dress. It just is, it just feels really nice on. I like it. But one of the things that I'd forgotten was to say that two of the things that are made with the fabric that I got were these bags. So this one, and just used a little bit of rickrack. I've not been aware of putting rickrack on like that, where you just have a little, just a glimpse of it, like, what's that word? A flange, like when you do a flange. And it's a reversible bag. It's a Debbie Shaw's bag. It's from one of her books, and it's meant to be for knitting. And if you're putting your knitting needles with your wool on the end, and then you can plop that in there and hang that on a door handle or a knob on your cabinet or whatever you want, or it's just a little bag. So I really like that, and it's reversible. Now, I haven't sewn up the inside yet, but I do like doing these little nifty things and working out how to do it, and what mistakes I make and how I learn from doing the mistakes. So there, I've got it folded, I've got it ironed. I just need to do a ladder stitch on it, because as it's a reversible, you want it finished on the outside. Now, on the picture you can make, I think they're called yo-yos, I'm not sure, where you gather fabric into a circle and then put a button on it. But I thought, and really, this kind of needs something to connect it to these, doesn't it, really? To that colourway or that different change of pattern. And ideally, I should really have used this as a flange on here, but I wanted to just brighten it up and keep the theme so that when it is inside out, and if you don't want to reverse it, you've still got that kind of pink or whatever colour that you would use. It just looks quite smart on the inside, doesn't it? You don't have to agree, but I think so. And this, to me, this kind of, when I got this out of the bag, this kind of screamed vintage tablecloths or 1950s apron with a frill round it. This, and if I'd have had it the week before, I'd have run up something, or a couple of weeks before, I could have run up something that was the fruit salad challenge that someone else was running. But I would never have bought that, never picked, and I don't like anything with a beige background, as you know, with this sofa, when I've mentioned it many times, which is why it's covered in all this stuff. And yet, it's just livened it up by using some of the lemon that I've got that matches the lemon and picking out some green rickrack. I'm so pleased with it. And then, again, this one can be reversible, but I used a piece of cream linen that I bought as a fat quarter when I went to do my last fabric shop. I went in the fabric shop. Well, I went and got some bits and pieces. But sadly, it looks just like a lining, doesn't it? It just looks like lining fabric. So, although it is linen, it's not so marvellous. So anyway, so I didn't do that as if it was reversible, and I've just caught it up on the bottom. So, and having done that one, it made me see that it needs something that just brightens it up again. I don't even know if you can see these, but I hope you can. So, thank you. I'm all excited. So, here are my bags for my not a nightie. Okay, bye for now. See you again soon. Lots of love. Bye. Okay, so before I go, having had my white dress on, my not a nightie dress, and now just putting this on to show you. It actually fits quite nicely, apart from, I just don't know how to finish it now at the top. So, I'm happy with it. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy wearing it when I work out how I can finish it. Okay, bye.